Alright, everybody. I've been requested several times to give you my opinions on the rule change on the new patch. I've taken some days to play some games to actually get to know the patch, so I don't have to revise my opinion as hard anymore if after playing. So without further ado, let's do this. Okay, this is the 0.61 patch online for 4 days now, and first of all I have to say it's a big change, right? If you've been playing, you noticed it's a really big change, and I like changes. I think it's great that we get to see something new, something different, and this way we can how do you say it? Experience new things. I've been seeing resurgence of old decks. I've seen new deck archetypes, and it's just great fun to see the game freshen up. So, what changes do we have, and how am I gonna tackle on those changes? So there are many articles, opinions on the core rule set changes that you can see here. So I want to keep the things I say short, because it's just been talked about so much. I want to focus specifically on the factions, what changes the factions are experiencing. So the rule changes are: you start with 5 cards instead of 3, and now you cannot mulligan any amount you want to. You can only mulligan up to 2 cards. What this means is, first of all, with 5 cards you have a higher possibility of drawing a viable turn 1 or turn 2 play, right? If you have the same amounts of 2 drops as you had before, you have nearly guaranteed turn 1 play. If you have, I think this is the intended change, if you have less 2 drops nowadays, you can still have the same chance of having a turn 1 play. So what the change means is the developers are encouraging you to take out a few 2 drops and add in preferably some high cost minions. And this is one way they want to slow down the game. They want to encourage you to play those big minions that we have been ignoring for so long. And this, in the same track, is the second change. Instead of drawing 2 cards, we only draw 1 card at the end of the turn. So whereas before you wanted to play 2 cards because otherwise you couldn't draw 2 cards anymore, now you can play only 1 because you will only draw 1. So this is in the same spirit of the last change. You can play 1 card, and if you want to spend all your mana on 1 card, it has to be a big minion, right? So now you're basically allowed to play big cards, and you're not more or less forced to play 2 smaller ones because you wouldn't draw 2, but you can only draw 1. And simple as these changes are, they have big implications. People basically already mentioned that, and I even mentioned that a minute ago. The game has slowed down. We see bigger minions. It's not as aggressive anymore, and most importantly, you don't always have the answer anymore. Because you draw less, you don't have you have a smaller chance to draw into answers. So okay, let me give you an example. Before, with 3 cards in hand, my dream turn, my dream hand would have been a turn 1 play, a turn 2 play, and an answer, like a removal or a dispel. And nowadays, it's not that likely anymore. I may have a turn 1, I may have a turn 2, and then 3 some kind of stuff, like imagine I'm having this hand here. I want to basically replace 3 or 4 of those cards, but I can't anymore, and I can only replace 2, and it's less likely that I get the answer card, because I really want to have the turn 1, I really want to have the turn 2, and it's less likely that I have an answer. And this is true not only for the start, but also for the whole game. Whereas before, I could always expect the Vanna to have like Hailstone Prison or Chromatic Cold. It's not the case anymore. And this also encourages you to play some big minions, even with effects. So not only the big bodies, but minions that can be dispelled, because while they didn't change the spell, they changed that you are less likely to have a dispel. So all in all, play big minions. That's the essence of the core rule change. Oh, and also draws are much more important, and card draw mechanics are much more important now, whereas before you don't really mind if your cards draw other cards or not. It may be a nice bonus, but it's not the reason you would play this card. But now you do want to play those card draw cards, because one draw per turn really isn't that much if you're used to the old 2 draws. Okay, I've been talking about this way too long. Let's go to the factions, because I think this is more on-hand explanation what these changes mean, because just talking about this like that, it's not very clear. First of all, we have Lionel. Lionel has always been more or less the stay alive faction, because they have so many heals, they have their provokes, they have the Grandmaster Zir, just to prolong the game. And I think the core changes really fits this faction, because they want to stay alive, and now they have the chance to stay alive. They have the chance to go into late game, to play their big stuffs like Airdrop Guardian, like the Elixes, like the Zirs, and they just, yeah, because the aggression has slowed down, they are more likely to stay alive and bring out their powerhouses late game. And the changes Counterplay has made also supplement their game plan. First of all, we have Lionheart Blessing change, because they increase the cost on all card draw mechanics. Lionheart Blessing, if you don't know this card, is Zeal. Whenever this minion deals damage, draw a card, which means if this minion is attacked or attacks while standing next to your general, you draw a card, and card draws is now more expensive. That's because they are more valuable now. The next card, this is a really nice change, Aegis Barrier. Yeah, it first of all prevents a minion being targeted by enemy spells, and it draws a card too, for only 1 mana. So 1 mana, draw 1 card, already is really good. That's more or less the standard. 1 mana, 1 card. And the effect that it cannot be targeted by spells anymore is really great, because since people are more likely to play big minions, single target removal spells are getting more valuable too. So like Dark Transformation or all the transforms from Vanna and Songhai, they are targeted spells, and they are really valuable nowadays, because they can remove even bigger things now. And this card prevents your enemies from getting their value out of the cards. And yeah, this is just a really great spell, because you don't lose cards, you protect your minion, and it's really nice. Martyrdom got nerfed. I just mentioned single target removals got more valuable, and that's why probably they increased the cost on Martyrdom, because 2 mana remove any minion. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? The heal doesn't really matter, because as Lionel, you can out heal them. So even if you heal them for like say 5-6 health, you still have more heal, you still have more staying alive power than they do, and healing your enemy doesn't really matter. So this is a deserved nerf probably. Martyrdom is still a really strong card. Divine Bond got buffed. Why not? Why not? It has been an amazing card before. Now it's even better, because now you're more likely to play your big minions, to keep your big minions alive with the Aegis Barrier, and then you can Divine Bond them for even less mana, so you can play, I don't know, more Divine Bonds in the same turn, or Divine Bond and another thing, and this is just like a really great bonus. So Divine Bond didn't really need it a buff, but they still did it just to make Lionel players even happier. So with this change, I think I will go back to Lionel again, and I really think Lionel is top class now, a top faction among some others, which I will come to later in the game. Songhai has been, if you have been playing the game, the most aggressive class, like, for the longest time, right? It's Backstab Songhai, or just Celerity Lantern Fox Songhai, or the Spell Songhai. It always has been about doing the face damage, and they were hit the hardest by the core rule changes, because to feel the aggression they need cards. They need more spells, more minions, more everything. And since they draw less, they can't keep up the aggression as well as anymore. They need now more card draws in their deck, and for that they have to sacrifice damage or damage spells, or for that they have to sacrifice other minions, for that they have to sacrifice something else, so they aren't that great anymore at being aggressive. And is Songhai viable playing control? I think yes, because they have, what do they have? They have one of the best transforms. They have the Pandobear Seal, Onyx Bear Seal, I think it's called. It's the lowest cost transform. It gives the shittiest minion, because the 0/2 you have to buff it before you can even use it, and it's just so cheap. They have 2 cards that just kills enemies for free. They have the Celestial Phantom, they have the Death Seal Strike, and I think it's possible. Oh, and Storm Kage, right? Storm Kage is also kind of control, and it's a big minion which you are able to play now since the core changes. Yeah, I think if Songhai tries to go control, it's definitely possible for them to be a control class. And with the changes we are seeing, it's even easier. Let's say easier for them to be control. So Mistdragon Seal reverted. It used to cost 1, then it cost 2 again, and now it's back to 1 mana. And I think it's, yeah, great. It's I like the spell. You can play something in the safety behind your general, and then move it to the fray and buff it at the same time. It's a great spell, and great thing that they returned it back the way it is. Jade Monk got changed to dealing damage only to minions. It used to be that it could either damage minion or the general, and this is a turn again back to control, right? Whereas before you could damage the general, push for lethal maybe, or just chip away the general's health. Now it's definitely going for other minions, more control. I still wouldn't play Jade Monk just because I think it's 3 mana, right? 3 mana, 4/3. There are better 3-drops in the game. Even for Songhai, the Lantern Fox is still better. So while this change is nice, it's not great. It doesn't promote this card to be better than other 3-drops. Heaven's Eclipse got changed, and this is a harder nerf than it seems. The cost was increased by 1 mana, but the biggest change is in the neutral cards part, because Mana Forger got changed. Instead of reducing the cost by 1 mana for every spell, it's only the first spell. Whereas before you could Mana Forger and then play Mana Vortex and then Heaven's Eclipse for 2 mana. You can't do that anymore. You can either Mana Forger or or Mana Vortex, and reduce the cost nowadays to 4 mana. So it's guaranteed 4 mana, at least 4 mana for 3 spells. Nah, I don't think it's worth it, because as I just mentioned earlier, at 1 mana, 1 draw, right? So if it doesn't even reach that level, it's yeah. I don't know. Maybe in an extremely slow game where you have like 9 mana crystals and you can afford to play that, maybe then. But for now, I would stay away from this card because you have other draws, right? You have Killing Edge, you have Twin Dragon Strike or whatever it is called. You have Mana Vortex. You have so many draws. You don't really need this specific draw anymore. Widowmaker got buffed, decreased the mana cost by 1, so it's a 3 mana 3/2 with ranged, and that's great. That makes it way better than Heartseeker, because it doesn't die to single ping anymore. People have been playing lots of Blood Tier Alchemist for the ping. Abyssians have their Demonic Lure for the ping, and it doesn't die to simple ping anymore. So you can buff your Widowmaker with the Death Strike Seal, you can buff it with every other attack spells in the game, and it just dishes out damage. So it's another contender for the 3 mana spot. I'd say it's still below Phoenix Lantern Fox, because Lantern Fox is just so great nowadays with the reduced draws, but it's still better than Jade Monk in my opinion. And Spiral Technique, wow, 8 mana, 8 damage. It's not as great anymore as before, but it still does the same thing, right? It's just a huge burst damage. It's the same reason why Earthen Sphere is still a good card for the Magma, because it just has a huge impact. It costs a lot, that's true, but it's more or less unpreventable 8 damage out of hand, and it's still something your enemy has to look out for. And because the game slowed down, 8 mana isn't as bad anymore, because yeah, you can wait you can afford to play a turn longer, because the game generally has slowed down. So I think this card is still usable. 2 copies, sure, why not? As a strong finisher, that's viable. Also, if you compare it with the other big spell finisher from Abyssian, the Shadow Nova. Shadow Nova is only 4 damage, and it's still being played because it's just a finisher, a huge stuff that your enemy can't really prevent. So yeah, although it's got nerfed, it's still playable. Okay, next is Vitruvian, and ooh, if I remember correctly, Vitruvian is the class with the most draws, right? First Wish, Second Wish, Oasis, and Death Shrike stuffs. And yeah, these cards all didn't get changed. They still have all their removals, not removals, sorry. They still have all their draws, and those draws weren't increased in cost or decreased in their usability. So just because of that, Vitruvian has seen a revival, because they have strong draws, and their draws do something. It's not just only drawing, like 1 mana 1 card, but 1 mana plus a buff, or plus a heal, or plus a minion, and yeah, these draws are helping the Vitruvian to come back again. And the only change they gotten were Time Maelstrom. I think I read somewhere that the devs said they think that an additional turn is too big of an impact, and although it used to cost 9 mana, it's still too big of an impact to really allow that. So they changed it to reactivate your general, and this obviously points into a specific direction, which is play artifacts. So because you can attack twice with your general with this card, you would want to equip artifacts, so your 2 attacks do as much damage as possible, right? So artifact Vitruvians more or less are back. I've faced a few, and they're quite strong, because you can't flood the board as much anymore as before. You can't play your minions in his direction, and he can just run away, equip his blast ankh, and then fire you to death. And I think Vitruvian is coming back too. So basically, up till now, every faction has been revitalized, in my opinion, just because the core change was really great. Abyssians, I think, have gotten the more or less the biggest nerf, you might say that. Abyssian used to play big minions before because of Darkfire Sacrifice, and their advantage was that they can play big minions, other factions cannot. And now this advantage is gone, because Abyssians still play the big minions, but the other factions play their big minions too. So it's big minion against big minion instead of, as it was before, Abyssians big dudes against the small dudes. So they lost that. But what is coming back is Shadow Nova again. Shadow Nova, if you don't know that, it's 7 mana, create 4 shadow creeps. And it used to be that this card is just too slow. It's really great for control, for denying the board, but it was just too slow at 7 mana. And nowadays, although it didn't got changed, it's not too slow anymore, because the game got slowed down as a whole, as I've been mentioning a few times already. It's possible to actually pack three of 7 of those Shadow Nova and realistically hope to play at least 2 in a game before it's over. And I've been playing a Shadow Creep deck since the last few decks, and with reasonable success. And I think that's the way to play Abyssian nowadays. The aggressive Abyssian, the face Abyssian, is more or less dead, because you only have 1 rush minion nowadays with Saberspine Tiger, and it's dead. It's for the same reason as Songhai. You just don't draw enough to refuel. Let's come to the changes. Okay. I want to mention first the nerf to Knights or Assassin. Not only did its stats got changed to 2-1 instead of 3-1, it now only kills minions with 2 attack instead of 3 attacks. I think we all more or less saw this change coming, right? It was just really strong. This card alone has changed how Lioness play, because their staple big guy, the Airdrop Guardian, has 3 attack and died for free to a 3 mana card, and now it doesn't kill it anymore. However, the counterplay has given us something else to play with, to combo with the Knights or Assassin, with a new one, which is Blood Siren. Blood Siren used to be really bad. It was 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all creatures, to all minions next to it, and now it reduces an enemy's attack by 2. So it's not only enemy minions, but also the general. Just keep that in mind. If you're ever in a situation where you want to reduce the general's attack, you can. And this one, if you combine it with the Knights or Assassin, can kill minions with 4 or less attacks. So it can kill, Lysium Brawler, it can kill the Mercantor, lots of stuff. But it's more difficult now, right? Because you need 2 cards to kill 1 card, and you need 5 mana to do that. Of course you get 2 bodies, you get two 1 bodies, but it's more difficult to do so. Having both cards at the same time in the hand, and the enemy has a 4 attack minion, it's more difficult now. But if you can manage that, it's still okay. However, the most fun change, I think, is the combination with Zenrui. Zenrui, if you don't know that, take control of an enemy minion with 2 or less attack for 5 mana. So this is a 7 mana combination. You can steal the enemy's Mercantor and then go for 4 frenzy damage and have some fun. But other than that, it's still difficult. It's even more difficult. If you can, I don't think it's a too reliable combo. It's just very, very difficult to reliably do that. But if you can do that, that's such a huge tempo swing that I think that's, if you manage that, that's more or less game. So I don't want to predict too much how good this will be, because we will just have to see, right? And oh, we have another nerf here. Right off the Undervault, cost change from 3 to 5. Right off the Undervault is draw until your hand is full. So the dream scenario would be right off the Undervault is your last card, you play that and you draw 6, which is absolutely insane, right? So 5 mana, draw 6 cards, which means you have more value than the normal. For the normal would be 1 mana, 1 card, and this has the potential to be really, really big. But even if you don't get all your 6 cards, right? If you get 5 or 4 or even only 3, this is still a big step, because the same as it's more or less the same with Spiral Technique and Earthen Sphere. It has just a huge impact, because just because you draw this much, albeit for a high cost, it's still a huge impact drawing so many cards. So I think it's the nerf is deserved, because the impact is so high. I run 2 copies of this card, and I don't actually replace that, because I know with this card I am allowed to play a bit faster, to play a bit more aggressive, because I know in a few turns, when I've emptied my hand, I can refill it again. So yeah, this card is really, really good. Try it out. Now we come to Magmar. Magmar, I think personally, is the biggest winner in this patch. Similar to Lionar. They have lots of staying abilities, they have lots of values on their cards with rebirth and things like that. And with the game slowing down, they can gain even more value out of their cards, and they still have the same ability to stay alive, to stay in this game. And I think we will see many more control Magmars nowadays, and they will have success. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. Let's see what how their cards got changed. Okay, first of all, amplification. It used to be 0 mana +2 attack on a damaged minion. It now got changed to 1, and it's a +2 +4 on a damaged minion. And this is huge, the value on that. Normally +2 +4 would be a 3 mana card, right? Imagine Killing Edge, which is +4 +2 for 3 mana. And this is only for 1 mana. And the only condition is that it's damaged, and that is not too difficult. We have Kujata in Magma to deal 1 damage. We have Kinetic Equilibrium to deal 2 damage to your own stuff. We have I don't know, many things. You can even trade something with you can trade with your 2/3 or attack the general and then play the amplification. And this is just a really great change. I think this might become the new third wish from the new old third wish, if you know what I mean. If you have played the 3/3 blast third wish before, I think this might become the new best thing, more or less. Okay. Diatite Frenzy got buffed. It used to be 2 mana, give your minion 1 attack and frenzy. It's only 1 mana nowadays, and it's just great. It's just great. You gain even more value, because now you can play a bunch of 2/3 creatures, and just attack the enemy general with your frenzy minion, and it stays alive and it still kills whatever the enemy has, and yeah, it's a nice buff. Okay, we have a new iteration of Mana Burn. Mana Burn, if you don't remember, used to be a Dispel. Then it got changed into some deal damage next to Mana Crystals, which is nobody played that. And now it's Dance of Dreams. Whenever a friendly minion dies this turn, draw a card. This is so the new draw mechanic for Magma. As Magma, you want to attack. You have many synergies with minion attacks. You have Twin Fangs. You have the amplification, and now you have even more incentive to attack with your minions, because now you can draw again. And I've already seen a really interesting deck, which is the 1-turn kill combination. You have 2 Kujatas, and then you have a bunch of 2 health minions. You play this card, Dance of Dreams, and then just play your 2 health minions. They die, you draw another card. All the while you have a Twin Fang equipped, and this Twin Fang just grows and grows and grows until you can kill the enemy general. This is really fun. This is really fun. And remember when I said 1 mana you can draw, normally you can draw 1 card. With this card draws more, much more. I mean, no, if you have 2 or 3 creatures and trade them in for another big minion or for several other minions, you draw 2 or 3 or 4 or I don't know how many cards, and this is another great value card. So I like this new card, and I like the next change too. I really like this patch. All the changes do make sense in my opinion. So the next change is Phalanxar. Cost reduced from 3 to 2, and stats were changed from 7-2 to 6-1. So 1 less mana, 2 less stats points, and now this is much better. It used to be really in a 3 spot. It was really clunky, because as a 3 mana minion, your opponent definitely, or not definitely, but most of the time had a 2 cost minion, and more or less all 2 cost minions have 2 attack, and so they could trade their 2 cost into your 3 cost minion, and it was a loss for you. But now you have a 2 cost minion which can trade into 3, 4 or 5 cost minions even, and this is a viable turn 1, this is viable in mid game, viable in late game. Okay, maybe less mid game because of all the pings flying around, but it's viable in early game and in late game, because yeah, it trades really well. It's a great finisher if the enemy doesn't have an answer to that. And with Vindicator, the card that gives other minions rush, this is also a very cheap removal, right? With Vindicator, this is 2 mana, 6 damage. It's more cost efficient than everything else in this game. So I like this change. I really like this change. Hey, let's see what else. Metamorphosis got nerfed. I like it because I hate playing against this card. 5 mana, basically, yeah, destroy all the other minions, because okay, if you don't know this card, this transforms all the enemy minions into 1/1 Magmas for 1 turn, and the Magmas don't have any effects. They revert back after 1 turn. So now this costs 6, which means it's nearly impossible to do the Metamorphosis Spirit Harvester combo anymore. It was already impossible to do Metamorphosis plus Plasma Storm. So the only way yeah, so this has become from an AoE removal more or less to remove 2 minions. So 1 with your general and 1 with your other minion that is alive. Something like that. It's a deserved nerf. I think we will see this one much less. And next we have another nerf. Spirit Harvester got nerfed, which I'm very happy about, because I hate playing this card, playing against this card. instead of dealing 2 damage to minions, it only deals 1 damage to all the other minions. And in my opinion, now this isn't as good anymore as obviously as a removal, but it's really great now for as a combo card. It synergizes with amplification, it synergizes with Dance of Dreams to draw something, and it synergizes with Twin Fang. So all the changes, this one, more or less points you into the direction to play Twin Fangs, to be aggressive with trading your minions, and I think this is what we will see from Magma. And Control, of course, but Control is weaker now. I take that back. Less Control, more Twin Fangs. Okay. I'm not used to talking this long at the same time, so I'm gonna wrap this up quickly. We have Vanna. Vanna is the class, is the faction I understand the least, and I have really bad stats against Vanna. I have acceptable stats playing as Vanna because I have no idea what to do. Although I have no idea what to do. Well, for Vanna, I think I've already mentioned it's less likely that you draw on answers, and this affects Vanna the most, right? They have the best answers with the Dispel that deals damage and is targeting a field, so it cannot be blocked by Aegis Barrier or whatever. And they have the Hailstone Prison, which removes more or less everything and returns everything. And both cards, although they weren't changed, are affected by the core changes. So first of all, Hailstone Prison, it actually destroyed the card when the enemy had a full hand. Nowadays it's less likely because we draw less that your hand is full. So Hailstone Prison, instead of destroying the card, only returns it back to the hand, which is still strong, but potentially not as strong anymore as it was before. And the Dispel is still really strong. It's just that you will have it less at all times because you draw less, and you draw less. And the powerhouse from Vanna got nerfed because Fenrir War Master was just way too much value, right? 3 mana, 6/6 stats, that's just crazy. And it was 3/3, summon another 3/3, and to adequately deal with that, you needed a general attack, you needed a Dispel, and you needed another minion or source of damage to kill the Fenrir War Master. Now it's only general attack and Dispel, which is much more easily to achieve and much more, let's say, fair. So you Dispel, which is 1 card, and then you attack, which is a bit of health. So the card is fair now. So 3/2, summon another 3/2. I think I like this change. I think this is way more balanced than the old one. The old one is Gravity Well. I like this card. Gravity Well, summon 4/0/1 provoke minions that cannot move and that are walls, and instead of costing 3, it's 2 mana. This card is also in the line of slowing down the game, right? Because all the provokes and your enemy has to take a whole turn to remove those stupid walls, and can't. Okay, he can still summon, but he can't trade your minions. He can't attack your general. You keep your minions alive because he has to attack the Gravity Wells, and by keeping those minions alive, you can play your Razorback. And also if he chooses not to kill all the Gravity Wells. Since the Razorback got changed here, instead of giving non-wall minions 3 attack, it's all minions 2 attack. So your walls are buffed again. We will see, I hope at least, the return of the wall of Vanna. Walls are one of those, it used to be one of those, what's the word? Recognizable thing, the staple thing in Vanna, with their bone chill barriers and blazed spines, and because the game was so fast, nobody played those walls anymore because they didn't move and they did too little other than stall. But now you want to stall, right? You can stall, and this is a good change. I think this is a good change to bring back those walls, just because I personally want to see walls back again. And okay, let's speed this up, because we still have so many cards, so many changes to discuss. More got changed from 2 mana 3/1 into a 2/2, and 1 mana into 2 mana 2/2, and it deals 2 damage to a nearby enemy minion. This card reminds me of the Dancing Blades, which was deal 3 damage to the enemy in front of the Dancing Blades, and this is the card I'm comparing it to. So the advantage of this card, the perceived advantage, is that it only costs 2, that it can be played as a turn 1. But in my opinion, this is not a good turn 1, because now with the new patch, with the slower game, you want your cards to be valuable. If you play this on turn 1, you lose, first of all, the value from the damage dealt, and it's a free kill by the enemy general, and that's just a free card. You give that card away for free if you play it on turn 1. So it's not a good turn 1. If it's not a good turn 1, it might be good in mid-game, but in mid-game you'd rather play a big minion, such as the Dancing Blades, instead of 2 small minions, right? We already established that. So it's not good in early game, it's not that great in mid-game compared to the Dancing Blades. Why do you want to use it? Maybe somebody will find a use for that, but I don't think I will play with this card in the near future. And now, Bloody Alchemist got buffed too. Cost changed from 2 to 1, and this is on the first side similar to Maw, but the difference is it deals damage to minion or general at range. So if the enemy has mini jacks, if the enemy has artifacts, you can use that card to ping away the minion or the artifact. I think it's really nice. It's really nice, but it's just too small. It's a 2/1 body. Yeah, it's small. I haven't found in my decks a space for this card. Although maybe I should try that, depending on how much people are playing artifacts. This one might see a big might be played again. I just said Vitruvians are gonna play Artifact, right? And I foresaw that Magmas are playing Artifact, and Abyssians have been playing Artifact since forever, and Lionars have their artifacts. So this card might be really great, now that I think about it. Okay. Let's move on to the next card. Golem Metallurgist was nerfed. It's a clear nerf. Instead of reducing the cost of all golems, it's only the first golem. Most of the time it won't matter, because if you play this on turn 1, you won't have mana to play 2 golems on the next turn anyway. But in fringe cases where you have several golems, smaller golems, you can't play all those for a reduced cost. And that's it. It's even less likely nowadays that we will see golems. So I don't know why they nerfed that. Maybe because there will be new golem cards in the near future. I don't know. Okay. Mana Forger has changed. I talked about that during the Songhai review. Instead of reducing the cost of every spell, it's only on 1 spell. It's still a 1/2 creature. They want to change it to a 1/3 creature, but I just think it's not worth anymore. It's just so passive, and reducing reducing the cost by 1, so you have to keep it alive for 2 turns, and play 2 spells in those 2 turns in order to get the value back out of your Mana Forger. So these two turns you can only play smaller minions, which you don't want to, or if you play 2 cards, which if you don't have anything to refill your hand, you don't want to do either. So maybe Mana Forger Vitruvian because of the first wishes, but other than that, I don't think Mana Forger will be such a good card anymore. Primus Fist used to be a +1 attack for all minions nearby, and now it's only 1 minion, but +2 attack. That's yeah, that's interesting. It's still a 2/3 body, so that's good. And 2 attack instead of 1, of course, is better. And I think in general, because of the new patch, it really is at least as good as before, because we can't flood the board anymore, right? We can't flood the board as much anymore. Instead of having 3 or 4 minions, which can all be buff, we will only have 1 or 2 minions, and giving that 1 or minion 2 attack, it trades into a bigger minion and you gain value out of that. I think it's still okay. I'm still playing that, and as of now I'm still satisfied with this card. And the Rust Crawler had a reverse in stats. Instead of 3/2, it's 2/3 now. And yeah, it completely depends on what we will see in the new meta. I'm predicting more artifacts, so this change should be a good one, because killing artifacts off for free, good thing, good card. The Blazehound was 4/2 airdrop, it's 4/3 airdrop now, and both players draw a card now. So how good is this? I think if you're playing aggressive, if you're playing dump your hand style, it's okay. It's still okay. Oh, excuse me. This is 3 mana for 3, not 2 mana. That would be amazing. But this is 3 mana, and if you're planning on playing many cards, this is good. Also, you can decide when to play this. So maybe you can play this when the enemy has 6 cards. You play this and you actually mill a card for him. So this is a very situational card, but you can build your deck around this. So it's definitely a good change, it's definitely a buff. And yeah, it's open for experimentation, let's say that. And Mogwai, oh, poor Mogwai was nerfed. Instead of 2/4, it's a 2/3 now. What this means is it's still a good card if you want to have card draws, but it's weaker because the enemy has an easier time to remove it. Now they only need a ping and the general attack instead of general attack and 2 damage from somewhere. It's easier to remove, and it's more difficult to keep that minion alive. If you value, in my opinion, if you value card draws, there are better ways, there are other ways, because this card is still, oh my god, 3 mana if I'm not wrong, but this is more or less a dead body, because if you value card draw, you don't want to trade your Mogwai, right? You want to keep it alive as long as possible, so it stays in the back, it stays passive, it's useless. It's a useless body. Imagine you had a 3 mana something else, like a Blazehound, a 4/3, which trades into a 4 for minion for health minion. It's I don't know. I think I've never played Mogwai before. I don't think I will start doing that. Prismatic Illusionist, just a buff instead of 2/1, 2/3. Okay. Yeah. Next one, Saberspine Tiger. Changed from 3/2 to 4/1. So the biggest thing that's affected is you can't use that card to kill the mini-jacks for free anymore. It used to be a 3/2, and if you killed the mini-jacks, it's a 3/1. But I still think this is a buff, because with 4 health it kills many more things, right? It kills with your general the Dancing Blades, it kills with your general together a Vorpal Reaver, and it's better as a finisher because 1 health matters, really 1 health. If you want to finish the game, this health matters. And other than the mini jacks, it died to more or less every other minion anyway, so the health nerf isn't too big, but the attack buff is really big, so in the end, if you combine both, it's still a buff. Then we have Shield Oracle got changed into the Sojourner, and it's a 1/5. Whenever this minion deals damage, draw a card. Yeah, this one again is, in my opinion, better than Mogwai, because with 5 health, it's more or less guaranteed to do 2 attacks, right? If you play this early enough, you will have the chance to draw 2 cards. So playing 1 card, draw 2 cards, that's really good. And it's a minion, because of the effect, you want to use it. It's not a dead minion that just stays in the background and does nothing for a few turns. You can still use it as a ping, you can still combine it with your general to finish off a 3 health minion. I think, in my opinion, this is better than if you are lacking card draws, you should go for that. And Windstopper, which was originally 1/7, ranged minions must attack. This one is changed to the Shield Oracle, which means the targeted minion is immune for this turn. So yeah, we don't have the Windstopper anymore, but nobody played Windstopper anyway, so not a big loss. Songweaver was your minions can't be targeted by enemy spells, your other minions, and it got really interesting change, and I think it's a really great buff, because now it's 3 mana, 2/2 minion, which is bad, but the effect is a nearby friendly minion gains +1/+1 and flying. This is more or less Mist Dragon Seal for everybody, because this is a neutral card, right? Mist Dragon Seal 1/1 and teleport, which is slightly better because you can teleport out of provokes, but the effect of giving any minion flying is just so strong. We will see many more bigger creatures, and now you can play the creatures in the back, so they are less likely to die to trades, and then give them flying next turn to finish, to trade favorably, to finish the enemy general if he runs away, and this is just such a good combo card, and I really like this change. I will definitely pack this card into more or less all of my decks, so see more of this card from me at least. Spelljammer got reversed. Instead of drawing only 1 card, it's drawing 2 cards at the end of the turn. And this is a really interesting buff, because first of all, before you got a disadvantage, and if your enemy had an answer to that, to this minion, he had no drawbacks at all. Now you get an advantage immediately because you draw an additional card, and you put your enemy in a dilemma. He has to decide, do I remove the advantage for my enemy and remove the advantage for myself? Or do I keep that thing alive and give my enemy potential for another draw into into lethal, or into an answer, or fuel my enemy? And yeah, this is a really great change. If you still are planning to play aggressive in this new patch, this is definitely your card. Artifact Hunter got nerfed into 3/3 instead of, I think it was 3/5. The reasoning behind this, the devs told us, is because they think artifacts are great value, and playing Artifact Hunter to get your value cards is such a good move, and getting such a great body is just too much value, according to the developers, so they nerfed this card, which is, yeah, I don't mind that, I agree with that. The Rejuvenator got nerfed from 4-4 to 3-3. It still heals for 4, and it's just not such a good body anymore. It now dies to General plus Ping, and it doesn't trade as well anymore. I still haven't made up my mind about this nerf. If it is really what's the word? If it's a good change that they nerfed that, because I think 4 mana was a bit strong, but why not like a 3/4 and 4 health? So I don't know. I have to play a bit more with this card to see how bad it really got, and I think if your faction lacks heals like Vanna, like Vitruvian, you still want to play that just because of the healing effect. It's just that the body you get with that isn't as strong anymore. Sandburrower is really interesting now. It's more or less an infinite value card, right? If this minion is dealt damage and survives, return it to your action bar. So you can play that, deal 2 damage to either general or a minion, and then get it back. You can play that again, it's full health. So this card is now really great for those, how do you say that, long and slow games. So if you don't mind taking another turn to play that, waiting the turn and then attack again, and I think it's possible. I just for Lioner and for Magma, you can really slow down the game with all the options you have, and then this card gives you much more value. I think this really fits with the new patch again. And Silver Tracer nerfed. Instead of teleporting 4 spaces, it's only 3. The reasoning for this, the developers explained. They found that just running away to slow down the game was too effective, was too good, so they wanted to reduce the strength of running away, and one of the way they found to reduce your possibility to run away was to nerf the Silhouette Tracer's effect. So that's their reasoning. Young Flamewing buffed from 5-3 to 5-4. Okay. And the first sword of Akrame, a card that is never seen actually, changed from 6-6 to 7-7. 6 mana, 7-7, and the effect is all your minions have +1 attack. Whew, this is interesting. I want to reserve judgment for now, because I just have never seen that card outside of Gauntlet before, and my first opinion is it's still not worth it, because 1 attack is not that much, and the fullest potential can only be reached if you have like a swarmy deck, right? And now with the card draws, with less card draws, you don't swarm as much anymore, so you won't get that much value out of this card anymore. So, but maybe you can make this work. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. I will stop here because I've been rambling about for way too long already. I hope I could give you some insights. I shared my opinion in a way that you understood, and I wasn't ranting too much. And I will make another video where I will talk about the new cards, because they have a new keyword, which is very interesting, which would warrant another video on its own, so I'm not gonna talk about them right now. And yeah, if you've stayed this long, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys sometime later. Bye bye.